care for this. I don't mean to ask you, push on the spot to say, tell us what's going to happen in the future, but tell us what's going to happen in the future. Good.
Oh, right. That does it. We are now officially live.
We are indeed.
All right. Let's see here. Want to make sure I put everything back as we try that for the first time. So with that, thank you, Ramon. With that, I want to say hello, everyone. Welcome to Keep Leading Live, the video version of the Keep Leading podcast. Today, I am streaming live on YouTube and Facebook as I do every Monday at 1 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Today, of course, is not Monday. This is the first time I'm streaming live on a Friday and the first time I am streaming on LinkedIn Live. So I want to extend a very warm welcome to all of you who have tuned in and joined us on all three platforms. The Keep Leading Live, the Keep Leading live stream, like the Keep Leading podcast, is dedicated to leadership development and insights. I'm your host, Eddie Turner, the Leadership Accelerator. I work with leaders to accelerate performance and drive impact. What is the secret to success? My guest today says there's no success without leadership. My guest today is best-selling author and founder of Smart Hustle Media, Ramon Ray. And you see him right there with me.
So, Betty, thanks for having me here, man.
Ramon Ray is the author of 4 books. He's been an expert witness for the United States Congress. He spoke at the White House on personal branding. Ramon interviewed President Obama in the president's first live video chat and was with Ivanka Trump at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in India. Ramon is a very impressive gentleman, and for these reasons and more, I am excited to welcome Ramon Ray with me today. Welcome,
Eddie.
Ramon.
Thanks for having me, man. I jumped the gun there. Thanks for having me.
I think we still got you on mute, Ramon.
Really? No,
There you
I'm
go.
talking. Can you hear me okay now? No? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Let's see. Audio.
Maybe it's me.
I think so. Yeah.
I am not hearing you.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Eddie Turner. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Try something, Ramon.
Okay. No problem. No problem.
Maybe.
Testing 1 2.
I need to adjust my volume. Nope.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1
Well,
2.
we have fun with LinkedIn. We have fun with
Testing 1 2.
technology.
Testing,
All right,
testing.
I hear
testing.
you. Oh, no, I don't hear you. You can hear me.
Yes. I can hear you.
Do
I
you
can
hear,
hear
you hear me loud and clear? I don't hear
loud
you.
and clear.
I'm going to mute you. I'm going to manually unmute you.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing.
Okay.
No? Yeah?
This is a first.
Testing. Okay. Let me see if I can hear it
This
on.
is the first.
Let me
All
see
right. Let me try something else. Let me do my computer volume.
if I can hear it on.
Okay. So
Hey.
tell you what, that's I got it now. I see what I did.
Oh, you can hear me?
I got you now. I hear you, but
Okay.
somewhere
Ready?
it had the wrong speaker. Let's change speakers again.
Okay, cool.
Oh, got it. Now I got you loud and clear. Got you loud and clear.
Awesome. Eddie, so what I was saying that you couldn't hear me was how awesome you were. No, I'm just teasing. No, you are awesome. But Eddie, thanks for having me to Leading Live, the live stream on Friday. I appreciate being with you, serving your audience, whether you can hear me or not. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. Hey, this is interesting, right? I'm the former IT guy, right? So this is interesting for everybody to see that this happens to everybody. When you're doing technology, you're doing something for the first time, and it happens even to me, someone who's had a little bit of experience doing this kind of thing. But we were able to recover. Good.
Indeed.
All right. Fantastic. So, Ramon, let's talk about how you and I met. And to talk about how you and I met, there's something that I want to share and ask you about and get your feedback on.
You're not going to embarrass me, right?
Well, I don't know if you consider it embarrassing or not. You might consider it embarrassing. Let's see.
We'll see.
If I could now recover from my earlier mishap.
Oh, that's all good.
Okay, if I can recover from my earlier mishap, the first time I met you was February 2016.
Okay.
Remember that shot?
I do remember that. I was you welcomed me and greeted me. I was a new NSA member, I believe, at that photo. Yes, maybe.
Oh, I didn't realize you were new.
I think. Or you had just come from Houston, I believe, and visited us, I believe. Something like that.
I was living in New York at the time. That was my first meeting at the New York chapter of the National Speakers Association.
Maybe it was the first. Maybe I was greeting you. Either way, I do remember that picture. Absolutely. We were brothers.
Yes, we were brothers. That was my first time. And now my screen just went to sleep on me. This is just a fun day here. Let's try this again. There we go. So that was the first time we met. And then another cool shot that I pulled from the archives is when we were together last year at Influence 2019.
Oh, yes. That was nice. That was the time. Absolutely.
Influence 2019. Yes, that was something special. And tell everybody the reason why Influence 2019 was so special.
Well, I know why influence in general is special because it's just full of thousands and thousands of speakers. But what are you getting at? Tell me. Do tell.
Does this picture bring it back to mind for you?
Let's see.
Oh, sorry, you can't see the picture. Oh,
Not yet.
I lost the screen. Let me try that again.
No problem.
The
excitement is palpitating, I think is the English word, I believe.
There we go.
Oh, yes. We received the Certified Speaking Professional Award, and the 6 of us there from the New York City chapter are wearing our bronze medallions.
Yes. So I the last picture I showed you didn't see, so I goofed. So we Influence 2019 will always be special to you and I because we are a part of the class of 2019 of Certified Speaking Professional Credential holders.
Yes, and I think that was one of the first times I had my new shoes from Cole Haan, which I was very proud of, and I haven't worn for months.
Oh, they were awesome. You know, it's funny you say that. My wife had me take her someplace yesterday, and it was the first time I put on shoes since March 12th. Yeah. And I remember saying it felt so weird. And so, yes. And finally, one last good memory. Talk about this photo here. Oh, yeah. One of my absolute favorites.
That is the power photo we got together. I think Marquesa and Michelle led that. We had a CSP mastermind. We all went outside and stood like heroes and rock stars and took our photos and blocked traffic. And
yes.
We had a good time.
Yes. So I absolutely love that photo. I think that's just great memories for us.
Indeed.
Yes, good stuff. So, so enough for sharing that. Let's talk now about what we're here to talk about today. You said there's no success without leadership. So, what I'd love to understand is your leadership journey.
Sure, absolutely. And I'll give a summary of it, and then you're welcome to unpack this as best it can. But the nutshell of it is, as you know, Eddie, I've started 4 small companies, not big billion-dollar companies, but I have started 4 companies, and I've sold 2 companies. So I've exited, as it were, written multiple books and been on stages around the world, et cetera. So I've had some measure of success, and I thank God for that. However, only, Eddie, as I've shared with you in the last year, 2 years, maybe, could be a little more, but I think about 2 years, have I discovered and been on this journey of what it means to be a leader. And that's been through podcasts like yours, popular books I've read, et cetera. And I've realized that, and when I say no true success, but, of course, you can have some measure of success, but especially in business and even in your family, Eddie, if you're not being a leader, and for me, I'm the new kid, so I need to learn a lot more. But for me, being a leader is 2 things. A, are you able to inspire people? And are you able to ensure that the right people are doing the right things at the right time, delegating, and that your team is functioning? That's really what a leader. You don't have to be smart, but you have to be able to inspire people. So for me, Eddie, I've realized that my business has grown. I've been able to think a bit more maturely, even though I have a lot more to grow and I'm still figuring it out, because I now have the mindset, not of a guy who can use Twitter, not somebody who's just clicking a button to measure their profit and loss, which is important, not somebody who's wondering, what graphics should I have on my website? But the element I was missing of being a leader. And that's why I think your podcast and the things you do, Eddie, are so important, because that leadership is what I was missing. And I think I had some of it, didn't know what to call it, but now I have a framework of how to think as being a leader.
Excellent. So do you have a particular framework that you like to use when you're operating as a leader?
Sure. And so I don't have that dialed in yet. I'm still learning. I'm like a baby leader. But so when I say framework, at least I'm cognizant of things like this. And don't laugh at me, Eddie. And anybody who's listening to this, who's like a leader professional, don't laugh. Things like, let me have a team meeting. Okay. Let me have an agenda. Let me check in with my team, small team, 5-6 people, see how they're doing. Okay, it's been a month now. Let me rethink. Is this the best thing that Jenny should do? So for me, Eddie, when I say leader, that's what I mean in the simple form. I'm like a baby leadership stage, as they'd say, and just learning those things, not just, did we get people signed up at an event, which is, I can do well. Did I sell sponsorships? That's what I do well. But I'm doing things like, am I doing even the right things? Ramon, stop. Should somebody else in your team be doing this? That's the kind of thing over the last several months I've been more cognizant of, and I believe it's helped me just in my small business.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, speaking of small business, you have started 4 businesses. And impressively, not only starting 4 businesses, you sold 2 of those businesses. But you said something that I found very interesting. You said it's only recently that you've started to feel like you're a success. Talk about that.
Yeah, and I think, so here's why I say that. And I think part of it's, my faith and other things. But I think that as far as the leadership in this discussion, I believe I've only realized I'm a success because I think in the past, I didn't realize the potential I had. And sometimes I wonder, not like the guy who spilled milk and fretting over it. I don't have that. But just, I think wistfully, what could I have been better if I was a better leader 20 years ago? What could have happened if I was more purposely leading 10 years ago? So that's kind of why I say I kind of wonder, if I would only known then what I've known now, I wonder how things would have been. So I'm blessed. I'm happy. I'm grateful. All is well. It's just that's the kind of thing I think is that where could I have been? What could I have done? How would it have been if I would have been a better leader back then and had some framework or thinking? And that's why today, as I build Smart Hustle, my 4th company, I do have visions of team and leadership and building it. Maybe I can sell it if I choose one day. Again, but it'll be even a better company, better managed company. I'll be less stressed, but even maybe be able to do better and bigger things, because of leadership. And Eddie, as you know, you can have technology. Sure, you can do technology, but I think the leadership element, that's really where I think it comes back to some cool things. Being a leader, it's beyond technology, beyond tech, beyond speeds and feeds. So that's what I think it is.
Beyond technology, beyond tech. Today of all days.
Indeed. That wasn't a dig at you, Eddie.
I know, I didn't take it as such. But yes. So no matter how much we test and how much we try things, but good. We learn and we keep moving.
That's right.
Now, speaking of Smart Hustle, I absolutely love that name because all of us find ourselves hustling, especially today, right? Given everything that we're going through, trying to make it happen, trying to be successful either as a entrepreneur outside of organizational structures, or as one magazine I read said, the entrepreneurs, those who have the entrepreneurial mindset inside.
Yes.
What made you start Smart Hustle Media?
Yeah. So my business before this, Eddie, was smallbiztechnology.com, which is great. It was a blog and I had an event with it. And I tired, maybe the wrong word, but that's the best English word I can think of right now. Tired of being the tech guy. Everybody knew the tech evangelist, the small biz tech person. That's not the moniker I wanted. Tech is very, if you take a thing like, let's say, this pen or something like that. I'd get press releases. We're no longer, version 1 of this pen. We're version 2. This pen is now faster. I was just tired of that. I didn't want to be the PC magazine, the CNET anymore of small business, because I find there's a limit. Now, of course, we're getting into AI, machine learning, but that just wasn't my space. So I said, but at the same time, as I was on this journey of being a leader and interviewing entrepreneurs, what I liked was entrepreneurship. So that's why I think it's 4 years ago, 5 years. I forgot the time when I first started Smart Hustle, but I bought the domain. And that's a story in itself, paid some good money for it. And I said, let me launch a magazine, a print magazine, to compete with other magazines. So that vision, I did print some issues. Didn't happen quite as I wanted, Eddie. But I must say today, Smart Hustle is a online event company, smarthustle.com. I do live online events. I've done several in-person events, and I have a good book of sponsors who sponsor the things that we do at Smart Hustle. So, and of course, as a speaker. So that's why I started, Eddie, because I just wanted to move out of that tech space and being the tech guy and speeds and feeds, reviewing keyboards and printers and mice. It's good. It's a need. But I just got tired of it. And right now I think I found my journey, and I think the world of entrepreneurship is so broad. And I have much more joy to interview smart hustlers, other people, and find out about their journey, whether very small ones or people like Damon John or Sarah Blakely or whoever it may be. So that's why I launched Smart Hustle, and I'm pretty happy about it.
Excellent. I love it. It's great. You have interviewed some really big names. Hey, I forgot to mention something at the beginning. If you are listening to this broadcast from either station, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, let us know. Drop a comment into the comment section.
Indeed.
Let us know you're out there. Let us know where you're from. And don't forget you can ask a question of Ramon and follow him on LinkedIn. You want to follow this guy. Now, I missed it earlier when Norris was trying to tell me. Norris Amin.
Hey, Norris.
He's a fantastic guy I worked with years ago when in the oil and gas industry, an incredible leader in this space. And so good to see Norris. Thank you for giving me the feedback, even though I missed it, Norris. I appreciate you tuning in. And not only did he tune in and let us know that it was loud and clear, we had Thecia Jenkins join us.
Thanks for joining.
Thecia is a person who leads in Houston,
Nice.
Texas. And I believe her space is emotional intelligence, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
We also had join us Lakeisha Jackson Young. Oh, she says, you look like rock stars. Great photo.
Thank you, Lakeisha.
Thanks. So I'm not sure which photo that was. It was probably when we were showing the albums earlier. So fantastic.
No, I think she meant this one right here. I think she meant this image right here.
Oh, excellent. The next person who's chimed in for us, and I missed these earlier with all my technical glitches. Nader.
Hey, Nader.
Nader. He says, what a nice surprise to receive this invitation through LinkedIn. Thank you for joining. And he actually is from Canada, works for a great friend and sponsor of the Keep Leading podcast and
Nice.
Keep Leading Live. And that's Grand Heron. And we'll tell you more about them shortly. So thank you for tuning in and chiming in. All right. And we have, she's saying she's Esther's sister. Thank you. I'm not sure which Esther that is. I feel bad about that. So now I'm going to have to go double check. And then we have tuning in, Marianne Shank. Now,
Hey,
you want a
Marianne.
leadership expert? Marianne is at the top of the, just at the top of the pile. She is someone I study with at Harvard. And she's going to get me for this because I always get her country confused. I'm going to say it's Sweden. She's in the finance industry, and I won't say which company she's running, but it's a big one.
Nice.
So definitely someone who knows leadership. Fantastic.
You have a lot of great audience people here chiming in, so that's awesome.
Yes, and we appreciate that. And finally, we'll say that Lakeisha says she's a leadership coach and she is completing her master's degree. We always love to hear people furthering their education. So we applaud you.
Congratulations, Lakeisha.
Thank you for tuning in and thank you for telling us where you're at and a little bit about you. All right, outstanding. So keep it coming, folks. Let us know. And Nader says, he says it's a pleasure. Thank you, Nader. And she did. I got it right. Excellent. It is Switzerland.
Nice.
Marianne is letting me know I got it right. Okay, fantastic. Oh, wonderful. I love Marianne. Fantastic. So here's what we want to do now. We want to transition just a tad. Speaking about those folks who are great friends of the show, I need to tell you about a couple of them now, and this helps us to keep things going. So if I may transition, let's talk about, let me share this screen.
And Eddie, again, thanks for having me, man, while you're doing that. It's a great show. I enjoy being with you. Enjoy your leadership. So thank you for having me. And again, all your peeps, the new friends I'm meeting. So nice to meet all of them.
Well, thank you for saying that. And thank you for helping me as I get this going.
Absolutely.
A day of transition. I can't believe this is happening to me. Okay.
Eddie, minimal viable product, right? It's good to do it. All right. Grand Huron.
Yes. All right, so let me remove the comment there. All right, great. So what I want to talk about now is my friends over at Grand Heron International. The key to sustainable leadership lies in the ability to thrive during uncertainty, ambiguity, and change. Grand Heron International brings you the Coaching Assistance Program, giving your employees on-demand coaching to manage through a challenging situation and arrive at a solution. Visit grandheron.ca/podcast to learn more. And you see that here in the screen. The next one I want to tell you about is Good Pods. You've heard about the world's largest site for books, and that is Goodreads, where people share their favorite books. Well, now there's Good Pods, a social app brought to you by former MSNBC host J.J. Ramberg, who I had the great privilege of honor and privilege of interviewing last week. She and her brother Ken started this company. It is just fantastic. So if you're looking for your next great podcast, this is a place you want to go visit. Download this app and check out Good Pods. I want to talk about also something that I forgot to mention. My good friend, Marcia Reynolds, my friend and my coach. I think every great coach needs a great coach, and she's the #1 female coach in the world. I meant to show her book. I didn't get that ready, but Coach the Person, Not the Problem. That comes out tomorrow, folks. Tomorrow, June 2nd. So head over to Amazon.com and pick up Coach the Person, Not the Problem. Great book for coaches, but also a great book for leaders. And finally, we are on Keep Leading Live. But what I want you to know, of course, is to head over to, if you're listening to this broadcast and you have an Apple iPhone or Apple device, it's very helpful if you head over to the podcast section and give us a like. And if you would be so kind, give us a star rating and a review if you enjoy what you're hearing on the Keep Leading podcast. And if you want to get the details of each show, today's show was Tasha Eurich. She's an organizational psychologist and best-selling New York Times author. And so what you'll get on this, on the actual Keep Leading podcast page, keepleadingpodcast.com or keepleadinglive.com, is you get every episode, you get the videos that go with the episode, you get the transcript, and you get the links. So if an author has a book such as Tasha, you have all of that in one spot. So we want you to be able to go and get those resources. Okay. All right. Well, we have Jay Scherer back. We're back now, and that's all for our ads and mentioning of our sponsors. He says he loves your energy and your passion and that they are infectious. He loves it.
Jay, thank you so much, man. Nice to see your face again. Your wonderful smile. Thank you.
Jay, thanks for tuning in. And we appreciate that feedback. And yes, he's right. Although I won't say you're infectious because that's a bad word right now. But
Yeah, yeah, some words we'll have to not use for a while. Eddie.
Yeah, we got to put that one on the shelf for a minute.
Can you imagine, Eddie? The event planner calls this. So, Ramon, would you recommend we have Eddie? Yeah, he's infectious. Oh, yeah. Anybody else?
Yes. So, man, isn't that something? How what we're going through right now? It's sobering, and we have to laugh to keep from crying, as my grandmother would say.
Absolutely.
But yeah, things do take on a different meaning. So before we took the break, we were talking about your leadership journey. And when we're talking about your leadership journey and the businesses you've started and all things you've done, there's some other very impressive things that you've done. And I want to talk about this.
Sure.
You're great at not just starting businesses and helping entrepreneurs, but you're great at branding. And you're so good at branding. I understand the White House called you and asked you to work with folks on branding and give advice. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I mean, listen, the White House calls me, every morning just for my advice on how to run a country. Why are you laughing, Eddie? See, that's not nice. No, no. But indeed, Eddie, it's been, listen, these are White House, UN, Congress. These are just esteemed things. Politics, totally aside. But it was an honor. I think what happened is that I was through the content, through online content, they were looking for something, and this is at the time when President Obama was in office, as I think right before they, I forgot the year, but whatever, 2015, 16, meaning when they weren't sure whether they'd be in office the next year. And they said, Ramon, some of our staff are here. We're looking to build our personal brands, whether we're in office or out. So I went there to the White House and gave a 2-3 hour seminar on it. It was one of the White House, the executive office of the president. I never forget the letter that came into me. So that was one. And then, Eddie, the second thing, as you noted, that happened was when Congress invited me. And again, that was through a relationship that I had. I was just saying, how can I serve? How can I help? What do you need? And it so happened, because this is dated now, so I'll say it. I think Marcus Lemonis, the prophet, was scheduled to appear and be on this panel. In fact, J.J. Ramberg was one of the people on the panel as well, who you mentioned. And he couldn't make it. And lo and behold, they're like, hey, Ramon, the billionaire TV show host, Marcus Lemonis can't come. Could you from New Jersey? Maybe you could show up. So I did. And those are some acts of distinction that I was really happy to have. But yes, branding is my jam, Eddie. I love it. It's something I'm passionate about. As you're passionate about leadership, for me, it's all about the personal brand. And I think that was an honor to know that I was in the White House teaching staff about personal branding. That was really cool.
That is an honor. Absolutely. And I understand that your White House honors didn't end there, that later on, a certain president asked for your advice.
That is correct. I don't know if I'll word it that way, but I'll take that. And that happened beforehand. President Barack Obama at the beginning of his term,
How cool is that?
Interviewed him on his first live video chat. And that was interesting, Eddie. That was just an experience, we were having, and I have it kind of saved as a loop. Hello, Ramon. Hello, Ramon. Hello, Ramon. Hello, Ramon. Have the president, which is a cool, it's the most powerful man, woman, hopefully, possibly one day, leader in the free world, interviewing him. So that was a cool market distinction. A lot of hoops to go through. How that happened, even 300,000 people applied. Several interviews I had to go through. Rearrange my whole living room, because this was whenever that would have been, over 10 years ago or something like this. But
it was that long. Okay.
It was when he was first in office. But that still goes back to personal branding, because I had to go through the interviews. I had to go through the voting and the picking you and selecting you and whittling it up to the top.
Mm-hmm. So. Excellent. Well, that's pretty awesome. And then I heard you say something that was pretty interesting. You said to ask for a smile,
yes,
not a sale, when you're working in business.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Absolutely. And I think that, as you know, Eddie, as I said, my journey has been on leadership. I'm happy to learn on that. But I think that going back to beyond leadership, I think sales is fundamentally most important. If you cannot make a sale, you do not have a business. So I find that many leaders, Eddie, they focus on the selling. Let's take these, iPod thingamajiggies here. Eddie, can you buy it? Eddie, can you buy it? Eddie, can you buy it? That leaves you with a binary answer, yes or no. But if instead I say, hey, I'm Ramon, I like to listen to jazz music through my headphones. Do you too? Eddie says, yes. He's in my funnel. He's a friend now. Or, hey, you know what? I like to clean my ears once a day. Do you? Whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's where you're asking for the smile, just to connect and be a friend and build my fan base, build my funnel. Because at first you're just trying to make money, ask for sale. That's fleeting. That goes and comes. But if you're my friend first, if I can know like, and trust you, as John Jant says, a great book, Duct Tape Marketing, another marketer says all the time, that I think is the most powerful experience. Because I think too often business owners are a bit short-sighted, and they're so focused on the sale. They're not focused on building the community. And I'm guessing, Eddie, turning back to leadership, is that I wonder if that happens with leadership. I don't know, but imagine you're so focused on getting Jenny to perform, getting Jenny to turn that widget or do that. I wonder if you didn't take enough time to know, how's her mom doing? To know, is Jenny even doing the right thing in your company? So I see some parallels, though. Sometimes we want short-term gains at the risk of long-term rewards.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you, Ramon. And just want to remind those who are listening to our conversation live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, go ahead and let us know that you're out there. And hey, share this with others. If you like what you're hearing, hit the share button so others can join the conversation and so that others can hear the replay. If you have a question for Ramon about leadership or about entrepreneurship or small business, drop it into the chat box so that you can get your question answered by Ramon live right here on Keep Leading Live. Ramon, something else that you've talked about a lot is community building. And so when you talk about both this branding component, the entrepreneurship, when we talk about leadership, really goes nicely with this concept of community building. Talk about that a little bit, if you would, please.
Yeah, sure. I'll talk about it a little bit in the context of leadership, which is more your specialty, but I'll give it what I think it may mean and be helpful. And then I'll turn to the branding. So I think as a leader, you can lead and those who are listening who are experts, you know this. I'm talking as a young pup, as a babe here. But I think that as a leader, you can lead, be the boss by dominance. You must do this. I'm going to withhold your check. You're not going to get a raise. That's one way to get somebody to do what you want. But how much better is it that when you, the boss, the leader, come into the office, people feel great. They don't feel that when you leave the room, they got to take a shower. When you call them to the office, they don't feel like, oh no, why? So I think my point, that aspect of building community, let's take another example, Eddie. Let's talk about selling, a pocket knife here. Okay, pocket knife I have. The best companies in the world, big brands and small brands, instead of me trying to sell this knife, it's let me get all the hunters together to talk. Let me get all the people in the kitchen who like to cut meat or whatever it is, vegetables together to talk. So my point being, this aspect of community building, I think, is very important because you'll find that if you build a community, if you build a tribe, as Seth Godin talks about, if you build a fan base, Gary Vaynerchuk and others talk about these sometimes, I think that's much more sustainable, Eddie. That's much more, that locks you in. Many people around this time, as we're doing this, talking this discussion, COVID and other things are happening, Eddie, they're worried about, staying in business, but should I lower my price or not? Things like this. In good times, especially, a strong community, it goes far. One more thing I'll say is Peter Luger, the famous restaurant in the New York area. I think they're only in New York Steakhouse. I was listening to the vice president talk, Eddie, and he was saying that even though times are tough, they're getting back to business slowly because they have a strong, loyal fan base. So if you're selling something just transactionally, just based on money, it's okay. You'll make some money there. But how much better? Because Eddie Turner's buying it because he's a raving fan. He'll take his shirt off and wave it, to buy your product.
I think I'll leave it on for now, but I get your point. Hey, by the way, I want to say hello to Susanna. Susanna, she's amazing. She's one of the top talent developmental leaders in New Orleans,
hey, Susanna,
Louisiana.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes. So thank you for tuning in. And so we're moving toward our wrap up here. But if you have any questions for Ramon Ray, go ahead and drop it into the chat box. Let us know that you're here. If you've tuned in, hit the like button. If you would like to let other people know you like what you're hearing, let us know you like what you're hearing, and share with your friends. Hit the share button so that it goes to their network as well. By the way, we talked about your work in the White House and interviewing President Obama, which is so cool. But you do both sides of the aisle. You also interviewed someone else.
That's right. That was very fun. I was talking about Ivanka Trump, yes?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So that was a good opportunity with her. I applied to attend the Global Entrepreneurship Summit, and this is a worldwide global event where you have different delegations from around the world come, and usually our highest executive as it were, as part of that, whether it happened to be the president, it could be Secretary of State, or others. And this term, I think that would have been 2 years ago or so, I believe it was, is when Ivanka Trump led the delegation for the United States. So lo and behold, I get a letter from the State Department saying, Ramon, you're invited to attend the Global Entrepreneurship Summit and join Ivanka Trump's delegation. Now, did I go in Air Force One? Was I able to be in her plane? No. However, I have a selfie with Ivanka Trump where she was on stage. So that was pretty cool for me to be able to, again, Eddie, and this personal branding rubric, it's about these small things that add credibility, that add some cash to what you do, and not in a negative way, but to put you, this world is a competitive. So that was really cool to be in India and have Indian food, 10 days straight, forgot how long I was there, but really to be with Ivanka Trump, and Modi was there. Modi tried to call me several times and to get my insight and have dinner with him, but I couldn't arrange that. Joking there, but it was a good opportunity and to see that in action.
I take my hat off to you. You've definitely imbued some of the best, and I love the fact you've even at the highest levels of government, you've done both sides of the aisle, and that's something that I wish we all could say. So kudos to you, and thank you for your feedback there, Susanna. And she says that she loves seeing us on LinkedIn Live. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support.
Thank you.
And hey, now she's letting me know she can't wait to be on the show. So I guess I got my next guest booked. So thank you, Susanna. We appreciate you tuning in. So I appreciate you being here, man. It's been so enjoyable talking to you. What is the overall message you want to leave our listeners with who are listening today?
Yeah, I would say two things. Or a few things. I think on the marketing side, listen, build your fan base, build your community. And sales is important, but build the fan base first. I think as a leader, as a young pup in leadership, I would say that there's so many people out there that are building businesses that are struggling along because the flash and bling of marketing, of how do I use Facebook, how do we live streaming, how do I use Twitter, is out there, which is important. Me and Eddie are in this game, right? We're doing this now. But I tell you, leaders, keep saying what you're saying, because that message of leadership is so important. And most small businesses don't know about leadership. We're just not taught it natively. The bling is there. How to do Twitter retargeting. We all know that. How to build your funnel. That's billions of books on that. But I think the big corporations know leadership, right? Elon or others, whoever it is, they're hiring these people. But us smaller guys and gals, we don't. So keep what you're doing. Leadership is everything.
Wonderful. And speaking of leadership being everything, this is Keep Leading Live, a part of the Keep Leading podcast series. We like to get your favorite piece of advice you've ever had as a leader, or your favorite leadership quote to help our leaders keep leading.
Listen, for me, I think it's a couple come to mind. One, life is a journey. I think that's one. I think being humble. I think that Churchill, man, wow, that was like you could drop science going through the toughest of times. So those are a few things that come to mind for me. Churchill, like him, and I probably could think of others as well. But you said one, so I think I've said 75 by now. Sorry about that.
I'll take it. Where can my listeners learn more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. RamonRay.com, SmartHustle.com. And if those don't work, check out Eddie Turner as well.
Fantastic. And Susanna says, leadership is everything. And I think that sums it up very nicely. We'll give her the closing comment. Oh, well, I guess we give Marianne the closing comment. She says, couldn't agree more.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Marianne from Switzerland.
So, Ramon, we're going to put the locations to get you into the chat box. I'm sorry, to the chat box. We're going to put those locations into the show notes.
Got it.
We're going to put that into the show notes so that when folks are listening to this, because this goes out two ways. This is the live broadcast. This will live on these three locations. But then in a couple of months or so, I'm going to release this as a regular podcast episode. And so folks will have this on their devices. You'll have a page on the Keep Leading Live site, as well as keepleadingpodcast.com. And folks will be able to get more information about you there. Thank you for being a guest.
Thanks for having me.
Keep Leading Live.
You're welcome. Thanks for everything you do. Appreciate it.
I appreciate that. And I want to say thank you to you for listening. That concludes this episode, everyone. But I do want to remind you or invite you to come on back and join me for the next episode at our normal day, which is Mondays. So Monday, June 1st at 1:10 p.m. Central Standard Time, my special guest will be another New Yorker. This will be the Chief Financial Officer, and she's a New York technology pioneer. She's amazing. Beth Polish. Come back on Monday and hang out with me and Beth Polish here on these same channels. I'm Eddie Turner, the Leadership Accelerator, reminding you that leadership is not about our title or our position. As Ramon said, leadership is everything. But leadership is activity, it's action. It's not the case of once a leader, always a leader. It's not a garment we put on and take off. We must be a leader at our core and allow it to emanate in all we do. So, whatever you're doing, always keep leading. I'll see you Monday, June 1st, everyone.